Good afternoon. It's so good to see y'all. Thank you for coming out this evening to our organ concert. It's such a pleasure to be able to do this, and we're just very thankful you're here. I'd like to introduce our concert tonight, the lady leading it. So I'm very honored to introduce Dr. Lynnette McGee to you this evening. Lynnette earned her doctorate of musical arts from the Claremont Graduate University, where she received many awards. She also holds degrees in organ from California State University, Fullerton, where she graduated with highest honors. Dr. McGee has forged an active career as an organist, organ recitalist, teacher, collaborative musician, and conductor. She is presently on the organ faculty at California State University, Fullerton, and is music director at First Presbyterian Church, Fullerton, where she conducts the choir, handbell choir, and is principal organist. She has performed numerous concerts in the U.S. and Europe, including Paris, Strasbourg, and Spain. In addition, she has studied internationally and participated in many international organ events. And it's a pleasure to have her this evening. I've gotten to travel Europe with her when I would go and study abroad, and it was always so fun. Before she comes up here and we get started, let's have a quick prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening, and we thank you for the generosity of all those that donated to make this instrument be here and be possible, to sing praises to your great name, and to lead in congregational worship. We ask a special blessing over Lynnette tonight as she shows off and shows the loving care of each sound in this instrument. Thank you so much for all the people that are here participating. And everyone said, amen. So please put your hands together as we welcome Dr. Lynnette McGee.
Thank you, Philip. I just want to express my thanks to this young man for everything he has done. He's been working so hard on this, just racing around and making sure everything is just wonderful. And especially yes. As Philip mentioned, we've had lots of fun on these trips together, and I'll never forget the time my video camera died right at the end of a performance of a piece in Paris, and he was sure that he got that re-recorded for me as well. Anyway, he's my technical guy, and I'm sure some of yours as well. Anyway, we're going to get started with some music from the pen of Charles Ives. Since I was coming out here to the heartland of America, this is my first time in Texas, I thought I'm going to do mostly American music. So all of the music on this program is written by American composers, with the exception of 2 German composers. So we're starting with Charles Ives. The piece is the Variations on America. This was written when Charles was only 17 years old, a very adventurous and precocious young man. His father was a band director as well as a teacher of music, and he would take young Charles when he was maybe 4, 5, 6 years old to these parades. And you'd hear the one band go by, and then the next band would come. But as the band maybe in front of you is playing a wonderful piece in the key of E flat, you can still kind of hear the band down the street maybe playing an E major. And so you have this kind of discordance, this cacophony of music. What most people would say, ooh, Charles Ives says, oh, I like this. This is different. So he's been kind of given the honor of having the title by some musicologists as the first truly American composer. He did it. He did what he wanted to do. You're going to hear some of that in this piece. He has these little interludes between 2 of the variations. And just know I'm in the right keys, according to Charles. Hope you will enjoy this. Could you imagine having Charles Ives as your church organist? He worked in a Presbyterian church for about 4 years. So you have a different kind of improviser over here. Maybe more tonal than that, I have a feeling. Yes, okay. The next piece is an arrangement of a beloved gospel tune written by the text Fanny Crosby. The melody is by Phoebe Knapp, and then the arrangement is Robert Hebel. Robert Hebel has a history of a partnership with Virgil Fox, and he'd spent some time out on the West Coast working at the Crystal Cathedral. Hebel takes the liberty of borrowing a little from J.S. Bach, too. And I think some of you will recognize this little tune that slips in there. So we're combining, we're fusing Germany and some America here. So I didn't feel like I was going too far off the rails when I pulled in a piece by J.S. Bach. The next piece is a prelude and fugue by Bach. But I'm just going to mention that as the United States was formulating its own musical style, and you had these young composers being born on the East Coast and so on, they got their training from Europeans. There were immigrants that had come over to this country, and they would study with maybe a teacher from Germany. A little bit later, after wars had settled down and so on, and passage became easier, over they'd go to Germany, and mostly Germany, but some to France as well, to do some study over there. One such composer came back. This is George Knowles, and he was a real fan of Bach. He learned the music of J.S. Bach while he was over there studying. Well, in the United States, had never heard this kind of music before. And so off he goes, performing. Well, the piece that I'll be playing is a piece perhaps that some of our American composers learned while they were studying over there, and it gave them tools in composition for writing counterpoint by performing these complex pieces. I love this prelude and fugue. It's effervescent, it's adventurous, and colorful. Bach's Prelude and Fugue in G major, BWV 541. to close off this first half, I have the pleasure, the honor of playing a piece written by Christina Harmon. It is a festival voluntary on Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee. And Christina's out here. I know you will enjoy this piece, all of the French style, right?
We're going to give her just a few minutes to, well, take a minute. Why don't you stand up? Don't go anywhere, but stand up and say hello to the person next to you, and then we'll say a few other things and get back to the program. All righty. Let's head back to our seats. I'm so glad y'all are getting along. Y'all are turning into a Baptist church, so let's head back to our seats here. Just a few brief words. So this coming July, or actually this coming July, we're going to be this will be our second year with this instrument when we started the first campaign. And just a quick thanks to the Allen Organ Company, the Dale Johnson and John Dill. They designed it. It was built to worship and play hymns. But tonight you can tell it can do a lot more, because all you hear is me playing hymns on it, and she can really pull some things out. So we're very thankful. Lynnette and I met in 2015. We went on the French organ music seminar. I was 18 years old, and Christina Harmon's the one. She's been doing it for 40 years, taking groups of organists over to Europe and playing at different churches and getting to experience where some of these pieces were written, like the Bach going to Germany and France, Italy, Spain, Switzerland, many different places. And so it's been fun. It was fun getting to know her, and we're just so glad to have her here again. And we'll let you take it away for the second half. Thank you.
So the second half is going to begin with a set of jazz chorale preludes. This is definitely a fusion. We have the element of American jazz meeting up with the German composer who used as his source of melody in there 3 different German chorales, which essentially are like hymns. And we're going to begin with the first one, which is called, he calls it Swing 5. It is based on, got it. It is called Swing 5, based on Dave Brubeck's Take 5. Got 5 beats in a measure there. Then we'll go into a bossa nova. The bossa nova is a dance that comes to us from Brazil. And you hear some of these kind of cool rhythms and harmonies and so on. And then the third piece in the set is entitled Afro-Cuban. The set that it comes from, as you can see in your programs, is called Organ, Timbral, and Dance. And timbral are types of like percussion, drum type ideas. Well, in the third one, which is based on the chorale prelude, In Thee is Gladness is the American or the English translation. And it begins with this, and it's really drums, like bongos. You can just imagine that. And I'm going to just mention, this will give you a clue, that the piece is dedicated to Leonard Bernstein, American composer. Think about Bernstein's probably work that he's most known as, and I think you'll be on the same page as the composer Johannes Michel. Thank you so much. I have a friend who was born in Cuba, and he really likes hearing that piece. He says, it just reminds me of the good old days. Anyway, the next piece is by another American composer, a woman composer this time, of African-American descent. Her name is Florence Beatrix Price. And Florence Price has really, her music has become far more known in maybe the last 10, 20 years. She wrote a fair amount of music, actually, for the organ. It was rediscovered by a sale of property in the Midwest, where a family moved into a new home, or not a new home, an old home, but new to them, went in the basement, looked through boxes that had been left, and they found boxes of organ music. It was donated to a university up in Chicago area where Florence spent a lot of her time, and her music has now been published. The piece that I'm going to be playing a portion of is from her sonata for organ. It was written while she was a student at the conservatory. She was actually up studying composition. She was already an organist. She and her two daughters had moved to Chicago to seek career there because there was a place for not only church music, but theater or organ music as well. So she made some money there, but her heart really, I think, was probably in composition. She became the first African-American woman to ever be recognized internationally for a composition, which was an orchestral composition. The piece that I'll be playing two movements from was written as an assignment in one of her classes. And several years earlier, she had learned a piece by the French composer Alexandre Guillemot, and he called it Sonata in D minor. Well, she decided to call it Sonata for Organ. She kept it in D minor. She changed the thematic material. Her middle movement of the three movements, it's actually the one I'll start with, it was probably most unique to her style of writing. But the rest was greatly modeled after this French piece. And anyway, I bring you the Andantino, which begins with some imitation. The right hand introduces a little melody, and then the left hand echoes it. And you hear this melody interchange throughout this lyrical movement, and then she ends with a fiery toccata. you so much. Another piece by another rather unknown composer, maybe even more unknown. Have you ever heard of Arthur Foote? No, okay. Well, that made two of us until recently. So Arthur Foote, he holds a distinction of being the first person ever to earn a master's degree in music from Harvard University. He was the beginning of the second generation of American composers that were born in this country, but he was different in that he was completely educated by this point in the United States. No longer did he have to travel, did he have to find an immigrant. The American composers in the universities had come along, and they were able to train Arthur, and you notice a commonality of harmonic use with the music of the American composers of this period. And Arthur Foote wrote this delightful little allegretto in, I think it was published in 1897. And it has a little offbeat left-hand accompaniment over a real beautiful melody. And I chose to feature the beautiful flutes on the great division of this organ. So, allegretto. So to close out this recital, I'm moving us into the 21st century, a piece by Carson Kumon. He's an East Coast composer. He has written in all different genres, from opera to symphony, organ, piano, you name it. I think he's written something in it. In fact, he is one of the editors of Christina's Music. He's also into music publishing. Nothing much he doesn't do. Anyway, this is a piece called Toccata Festiva, and he uses the French toccata style in the piece, and it opens with the fast, repetitive manual work over a melody in the pedals, and then he has his big chorale section, and he calls for all the reeds on the organ. So it gives me an opportunity to use the festival trumpet that is such a lovely kind of crowning glory stop on this organ. So Carson Kumon's Toccata Festiva.
Thank you so much, Lynnette. One more round of applause, please, for her. Thank you so much. We have a reception in the fellowship hall. Please come and enjoy some wonderful cake and say congratulations to her. That's a lot of work. Thank y'all for coming. We'll see you there.